Nobody will notice a thing. Hello. Hello. And hello. Welcome. Willkommen. How are we all doing? It's a stream. Yes, it is. Let me just... Yay, the bot worked. Good. Marvellous. How are we all doing? Apart from, much more observant than me. Well, I hope. So this is probably the last part of the Metal Gear Solid Drawthrough, Noodle Gear Solid. We have already blown up the namesake of the game, so it sort of makes sense that we're approaching the end. But, yeah. We must now see what remains. So yeah, let me pop over to the what's it. There it is. Last time, quick recap. Last time on Noodle Gear Solid, we overheard a little conversation. We arrived at Noodle Gear Solid, at Noodle Gear Rex, and we climbed over it, went over some scaffolding, went to a control system room, where we overheard Wet Noodle and Bullet Ant having a bit of a chat about their plans and how they're gonna extort money out of governments, and they're gonna plan on blowing a place up. That's sort of plausible deniability, but enough to get other countries to notice that America's doing something fishy. Kind of blackmail sort of thing. In an attempt to... And Bullet Ant's sort of hope is to get Russia to be the place it once was, as it were. Unfortunately, Noodle's an idiot, and got caught and had the keycard shot out of his hand. So he then had to clamber back down and get it from a rat, which he then sewed up the incision with the sock. And then we put in the card key after running around this building for far too long. We escaped some poisonous gas before we were there, thanks to the help of Uwu Weeb, and then we confronted Wet Noodle. Hello, Chibi, how you doing? We confronted Noodle because it turned out the Noodle had killed and impersonated Convenient Glasses this whole time. You're alright, yeah. So we confront him, and he goes on about how, you know, they're biological brothers and they're both from the same sort of genetic manipulation sort of thing, which is why they both have Noodle in their name. And then he hops into the big mech, and we have a fight with the big mech. We remove the targeting system because it turns out this thing has no windows. So we shoot that, and then a ninja friend comes in to help. There he is, and he helps us out. We then have a bit of a conversation while he's underfoot, and he says that, yes, he was the big brother of, well, the adopted big brother of Valen, but he's the adopted big brother because he killed her parents. And she doesn't know that. Good old boy King Vader, yes, I probably should, for the purposes of posterity, display the fan art. So Chibi, good friend of the show Chibi, should I though? I mean probably yes, but probably no, but probably yes. This is...
My sons, attack the gates.
This is an 18+ stream, I believe, so this is some very, very good fan art of King Vader after all these things happen.
My sons, attack the gates.
There it is. Thank you very much, Chibi. I was flicking through some of the old sort of fan art that you did back in the Final Fantasy. I think, whoa, my word.
My sons, attack the gates.
And my word, you've come a long way. Your drawing ability has only exponentially improved, and your renderings and your colours, it's all very, very good. Yeah. So that's who's in this cutscene. So yeah, just close that so it's not distracting as it would be. So yeah, we had a bit of a chat, and he said that he killed Varlin's parents, and that's why he felt bad and took her in, and that, like, his last wish is that we tell her that. so that she can get a bit of closure and she can stop sort of thinking of him as the sort of hero that sort of skewed her perspective on life. Because remember, she betrayed us with the fox dye thing. She stuck a virus in us that has been genetically encoded to kill specific people, which is why many people have had a heart attack at this point. It's good art, which also makes it worse. Makes sense. So that happens, and then he does a bit of chip chopping and breaks the radar dish. A lot of this cutscene has been moved around and erased, but he was up there, and then we couldn't put him out of his misery, and then he got killed and stamped under the foot. But he helped us out, so that was nice. But now the radio's out of sync. He had to open up the mouth of the thing. This is Wet Noodle. Had to open up the mouth of the mech that he was in so that he could actually see us and fight us. And then we just slingshotted him with our ladle scissors. And exploded the mech. Hooray, we beat the mech. Don't think you tried hard enough to save him personally. I mean, that's fair. There's only so much you can do against a mech with a pair of scissors and a ladle. Hello Dark, don't worry, we've just been recapping what happened last time. And then the whole thing exploded and we got thrown against the wall and knocked unconscious, and that's where we are now. So, we return. With me trying to remember how to draw. How are we all doing? Are we all good? We all had a good start to the week. Are we tied up? We're probably tied up, that makes sense. We are also missing our top. Because, of course we are, liquid's a bit like that. Sorry, wet. It had work to do, it was glorious. Marvellous. I'm glad it was productive, I guess. Had an interesting start to the week, but it's been alright. I hope, hopefully those of you who work in retail are being treated a little better this week. People might have a little bit of empathy and possibly understand the longevity of the situation a bit more. There we are. Hello, Kiro. How you doing? So yes, we awake to find ourselves in a bit of a tangle. For some reason, Wet Noodle has taken our top off. It's a brother thing, I guess. There's nearly no customers, and the few that are in have been saying good job. Yeah, that's nice. And a positivity in these times. People doing good work deserve to be told that they're doing good work. And then there's me drawing cartoons. Like I'm as far from essential personnel as you could possibly get. Look at that terrible... I'm not drawing October now, Chris. You've got to draw things in proportion. Brother! Yes, so we're here sort of tied up. Brother! Ah, he's got the glasses as well. Ooh, sneaky disguise. October's not an easy word to draw in regards to proportions. I was thinking if I knew any animators, I'd want to commission one just to work out what their walk cycle would be. Because I have no idea. One of his legs is twice as long as the other. Sorry, one of their legs. Yeah, so we're here. And we have our brother with a much bigger head than us, apparently. who was also taking his top off because, of course, well, no, he didn't have a top on in the last cutscene, so that's fair. Although, as established, he's also wearing his sports bra thing. Yeah, I can't really remember. He's taken his coat off. That's annoying because that's one of his main identifiers as far as my drawings are concerned. The other one obviously being the say obviously, I can't. The old flowing locks. Right, so we by the way, I should point out we are on top of the wrecked head of Noodle Gear Rex. So as Wet Noodle says, it is a long way down from here. More on that later. Wet Noodle, the sports bra looks like your average female protagonist. Well, you know, redressing the balance, I guess. I think he's okay with tank tops he likes showing off. I mean, it means he's wearing more than he's in the base game, so... So yeah, we're on top of this thing, which, terrible perspective. Hang on. That's a bit better, they don't look tiny now. So we're here, and he starts doing his old monologues and such. Talking about various things. He talks about how the noodles came to be. We have already ascertained that they are genetically acquired from the DNA of spaghetti. What is he wearing in the base game? No, he's not wearing a top in the base game. That's all it is. So yeah, he starts talking about les enfants terribles, the terrible kids, and more art. So yeah, les enfants terribles, and how they were made. They were made from his DNA, but they were not the only ones. Apparently, the genetic experiment created 8 embryos, but 4 of which were immediately killed. Because so that the other 4 could live, I think. And he says something along the lines of, we were killing things before we were born. And it's like, you didn't do that, the scientists did that. And we won't get into the whole ethics of whether that's killing or not. But he seems to think so for his narrative. And then there's 4 left. And he says that, eventually, after some experimentation, the other 2 were gotten rid of, and these 2 were left. And one of them had some sort of enzyme thing attached to it in order to draw out all of the dominant genes, and so that they could be put into the other one. And he's annoyed because he's the one who had all of his dominant genes taken away, and Noodle was the one who got all the dominant genes, so he's jealous about that. Still not how genes work, true, but it's Kojima, don't worry about it. Big brothers, yes. But also, there are more than that, because when the human genome was mapped, they mapped the entirety of the DNA of Spaghetti and were able to create the genome soldiers from his DNA. Unfortunately, they didn't work out too great, because it turns out a digital copy of that DNA was a bit too perfect, and things that are too perfect in nature tend to die. I don't know, something about symmetry. I can't really remember what the justification is for that. I don't know. So Yeah, so apparently they're dying off and they need their genetic code repaired somehow, which is why they wanted the body of Spaghetti, so that they could make sure the genome soldiers could live on. And he also says that the same thing is happening to them, because obviously they were genetic experiments, they're not perfect either, and that they're going to die of the same thing too, only they're not going to die quite as quickly because then they weren't artificially created. They were artificially created, but not precisely, if that makes sense. So all the nanomachines, always. We're full of nanomachines. Cute little old nanobots. Noddle and the Nanbots. That was a gimmick band in the 1960s. They did one song from a kid's TV show. Anyway, so yeah, he talks about that for a bit. This is why he can eat some rations to cure bullet wounds. Yeah, the rations just turn into healing stuff. So after that, after his little diatribe about all that stuff and how genes and so on and so forth, he also points out that they're probably going to die from fox dye. But I think he says something along the lines of, I'm not going to die until I kill you. Obviously, that's how that works. But he says that it's going to get us at some point because it's been programmed to kill us because, what's her face? Valen, because obviously fox dye is a virus that was specifically targeted to particular DNA. Not going to die until I kill you. Immediately dies. To be fair, we've blown up a helicopter with him in. We've blown up a massive machine with him in. He's still not dead yet. He's doing all right. But apparently it affects older people first. So Nicholas Travolta died. He was quite old. The DARPA chief, no, not the DARPA chief. He was already dead. Carl IV died. He was also old. It affects older people first. Should have sent him to Zanzibar. Yes, he will die in Zanzibar. Anyway, after all this diatribe, he says, look over there. So we look over there. What do we see over there? We see a little box. There it is. And the little box has some lights flashing on it. And next to it, it has a little monitor with some digital numbers on it, which look suspiciously like a countdown. And we might as well stick some wires in it and whatever, and then just might as well go the whole hog and a couple of sticks of dynamite on the side. It's a bomb! That's what I'm trying to say. Is the box? No, it's an evil box. Evil box. Not the cardboard box. Nope, cardboard box is... I don't really want to think about where it is at the moment, but... So yeah, he says, look over there, and we see the bomb. It's like, oh, bomb. And he says, no, a little bit further. So we look a little bit further. And we keep resizing this until we can fit the entire seed onto it. A bigger box! There's another bomb! Oh, I wish that was the case. No, we see... We see a CC. It's Nicholas Travolta. I still think, who was it? Was it Chili who came up with the idea that it should have been Nicholas Travolta who was Master C Glasses? I still think that's a much better twist than the actual game. Anyway, so we see a CC. Not to scale. She is the most clothed person here, which is nice. It's such a perfect build-up. I know. Nice change. Yeah, she's already had a stripped off scene. So you know, there's equality eventually, kind of. Oh, sorry, I remember another bit, which when you go into this game knowing that it's supposed to be an explicitly sort of anti-war thing, there's a bit in his dialogue which makes that so clear. When he starts talking about the problem with the world is that there just isn't enough war. And people like us, we were built to thrive in war. And there's always going to be war, but we need more war. We need the right amount of war. And Spaghetti knew how much war there should be. And I'm carrying on his legacy by making more war. So he's just very much kind of straw manning this whole thing. I just thought I'd put that in there because it is kind of funny. Like it's typical sort of villain thing, but knowing consciously what this game is about, it's much funnier. It's fresh war for only $49.99. All the war you can eat. Meat plot. Meat is murder is war, is pain is suffering. So says Yoda. So yeah, Cece's there. And he says, if you don't, I'm gonna give you a chance to fight me, and if you don't do it in a certain amount of time, the bomb will go off and it will kill Cece. And now we give you war, sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. Sponsored by The Economist, sponsored by Lisa Mattresses. So it'll only kill CC because we're not in the proximity at all. That's where the next thing comes in. And he says, why are you doing this on a time limit? This seems very arbitrary. Why don't you just kill me and then kill her? And he goes, very simple reason. I'm not the one who came up with the time limit. Why don't you phone your friend? So we're gonna, where's my sound thing? I never remember to bring this up, do I? Sound thing. Do a phone call. There it is. That's the wrong person. It's not Uwu for once. we phone up Colonel Corn. And we, oh no, that's in the way now. Go away, sound thing. I needed you once and once alone. God convinced us to do the time limit thing, even though he would literally love nothing more than to kill us. Hang on a second. And we go, Corn. Oh, hang on, no, wrong picture. Better. We say, Corn, what's going on? And he goes, bit of a problem here. The operation has been taken over, and is now out of my control. The Secretary of Defense has now taken over this whole thing. He was the one that sort of commissioned it, but now he's taken command. He has ordered a nuclear strike on the base, because he's just found out that Metal Gear Rex blew up, and basically he now knows about the whole Varlin thing and that there's a virus going around that can kill people specifically. He doesn't know who it could kill, so he wants to cover all that up and make sure that doesn't get out. He doesn't want anyone to know about the things that we've been doing here. Cover up, basically, yeah. Because as we said earlier, this is something that the president doesn't need to worry about, so he's trying to make sure, cover this whole thing up. So we go, we're still here. This is a bit of an issue. And Colonel Corn goes, no, don't worry. Okay, I'll sort something out. I can delay the strike slightly. And we say, how are you going to do that? And he goes, as far as a lot of people are concerned here, this is a very quick turnaround. As far as a lot of people are concerned here, I'm still in charge. So if I issue an order to make the planes turn back, because they're on their way now, that'll confuse people long enough that you might be able to get out. To which we go, if you do that, the Secretary of State is not going to be happy with you. Sorry, the Secretary of Defense isn't going to be happy with you. And he goes, look, they're not happy with me already. I should probably have told you this to begin with. Well, I probably shouldn't because it's a thing I probably should have told you about. I'm not really here of my own volition. You see, this whole situation, Foxhound has been part of an undercover operation from the beginning, and I was rather coerced into being here because they sent CC in themselves, essentially as a kind of blackmail. And they said that if I don't cooperate with this, I would be endangering her safety. You should have told us a lot from the beginning. That's why. So he's essentially been kind of blackmailed. You know, bad things are going to happen to your niece if you don't do this. So yeah, that's why he's done a lot of bad things. Because now she's not in net danger at all. I know. Everything's worked out absolutely fine. We don't mention the fact that she is currently unconscious next to a bomb. So, yeah, so he says that's why, you know, I know it's not a reason, I know it's not an excuse for a lot of the things I've done, but that's why I'm here. So I'm not really in, you know, good stead with these people anyway. I might as well, you know, I did this for the safety of Cece, and now if you can help Cece get out of there, I'm going to do what I can to do that, even if it means losing my job, possibly my freedom, possibly my life, who knows. He's very nonchalant about it. And we say, thanks, do that please, I don't want to blow up. It's better if I struggle when we get back. So he goes, okay, cool. He presses a button, and then stuff happens. Scuffles and punches and things. And we go, oh, no, that's the wrong one. And we go, come on, what happened? And I think, do you remember this person? Do you remember Dr. Baby? She's there. Because she's with Korn on the submarine, I presume. Everyone's on a submarine. I forgot about that. This is all happening on a submarine. So I think she was the computers expert. The weapons expert was someone. No, weapons expert was Nelhav, I think. Who turned out to be good, because we never saw her again. Yes, so Dr. Baby pops in and goes, oh my god, the Colonel! Things are happening behind the scenes, and then she goes away, and that's it. I just remember laughing because she was so briefly in the scene. And then someone else pops on, who I now have to draw. She's there the whole time. You didn't get to see her often because she's what you call to save. Yeah, you see her a lot in the game, but for the purposes of this draw through, we'd never really see her. She's good. She's a nice person to talk to. She's like the source of optimism on this game. So I now have to draw a new person and work out how to cover their eyes, as is our wont. How do you draw a human face? Give him glasses. I can't really remember what this person. I think he's got a beard. As for everything else, not a clue. Glasses, it's the easy way. New person, I know. You honestly don't remember this guy. I don't blame you. He appears for literally 3 lines of dialogue and then leaves. But he is relatively important to the plot, so we'll include it for now. I remember his face being quite long, and he looks old, but I don't really know how to do that in this particular hurried style. Looks like Gordon Freeman. First beard character. It's the first beard? I suppose it is. No one really has a beard here, do they? I mean, the Jeff Headstrong had a moustache. I suppose that's the closest we've got. So Gordon Freeman calls out. I need to give him a sort of. I think he's got a kind of simple sort of. I don't remember this person at all. He probably looks absolutely nothing like this. It was only the other day I watched this. I think he's wearing a suit. Gordon Freeman. Half-Life next for the next Drawthrough. There's not really much story, is there? Definitely looks like this now. Fair enough. Yes, so this is the Secretary of Defense. And he pops in and goes, "Hello there. Yeah, sorry about that whole Colonel Korn, trying to stop our nuclear strikes and all that sort of stuff. We've arrested him now, for, treason, that kind of thing. No memory of him at all, but you're willing to accept Gordon Freeman too." Fair enough. Glad the Secretary of Defense is not judging us for accepting a sort of a phone call in our bra. I think he understands the circumstances. He doesn't care. So he says, "Yes, sorry about all that. We have arrested Colonel Korn, and we are going to drop the nuclear weapon. Because I am in charge of this operation, and, the cleaner we can cover this up, the better. The president is already in the middle of signing a lot of nuclear treaties and all that sort of stuff. He doesn't need to know. So yeah, I have complete control here, and I'm going to drop the bomb. So have a wonderful time. It's obviously particularly helpful that we're going to be getting rid of our two little enfants terribles, our two little experiments in the process. That's another little secret that we can get rid of in the process. Dropping a nuke is the clean option. Well, he says, this is a nuclear disposal facility. The terrorists had taken it over and were messing around with nuclear weapons. We're just going to say that they set one off. They didn't really know what they were doing. The only person I really cared about being in there was the DARPA chief, Jeff Headstrong, because he had some information I wanted. You don't have the test data, do you? To which we say no. And he goes, "Oh, that's a shame. Oh well." Because obviously he was the one in charge of setting up the whole Rex project in the process, and that's what he wanted. He wanted the test data. And he goes, "Oh well, shame about that. Anyway, back to dropping a bomb. Have a wonderful time. Goodbye." And then he says goodbye, and we never see him again. Remember that part, the test data and Jeff Headstrong stuff? Yes, yeah. The DARPA chief, Jeff Headstrong. Yeah, so we now end our call. There we go. And we're back to there being a bomb here. Do you remember that? I assume while this conversation was happening, Wet Noodle was setting the bomb, all that sort of stuff. Alright, I think funny thing is, before I watched the thing to recap for this, I remembered the scuffle, but I didn't remember who it was who did it, and I didn't remember all the test data and the DARPA chief stuff, so together we would have remembered the whole scene. So, although maybe not the person who did it. So yes, we're here, and he goes, Wet Noodle says, "Well, that's so much for the people who are behind your back. We've got foods!" Huzzah. Wonderful, thank you very much. Yeah, he says, so much for the people looking behind your back and all that sort of stuff, but that's fine, we're warriors. We do what we do. We fight who we fight. And speaking of fighting, do you want to fight? So, and then he undoes our cuffs or manacles or whatever it is that we're housed in, and he demands satisfaction. And we have a fist fight on top of a robot that must be completed in under 2 minutes, otherwise everything explodes. It's also quite a small arena. We are fighting on the head of this thing, and he said, I think the line is, it's a long drop. I can't remember, what is the wording? It's something like there's a long drop. It's enough to kill even you. It's just a weird way he says it. Like, I don't know. If you fall, it's game over, yes, so you have to do the whole thing again. I assume you can't even save between these things, so you may have to do the whole robot fight as well. But yeah, I just remember that. So we now have to fist fight. In a manner reminiscent of Strong Jessie and Janet. Having a punch up on the old Sister Ray. He undoes her handcuffs so we can... You almost made me read that. You almost made me read that. I was so close to finishing that sentence. I was like, nope. I mean, technically they're clones. So... I don't know if that makes it better or worse. What has happened to chat? I don't know. How do you fight? How do you do arms in punching? I literally drew somebody in this pose today. Say that though, it's not happens in chat all the time. I mean, I'll just leave you doing that while I try and work out how to draw. Why? I stopped drawing for dinner and now I just can't do it again. Is that right? That's no, that's not. How does fist work? Don't. I think we're still wearing gloves, probably. You know what I should have done? I should have gotten up a timer and to see whether or not I could draw this in 2 minutes. That would have been fun. That would have been clever. What would have happened if I didn't manage it? We'd have to start the draw-through again. Look, this is an 18+ stream, I guess. There are no rules with regards to lewdness. I'm trying just for the general sense of personal decency, but you can do what you want. I'm not going to stop you. I mean, I might stop you, but probably not. They are twins, aren't they? This fight is not necessarily easy. There are certain cheeses, but it is entirely possible to to get very frustrated at how bad you're doing at this fight. Remember losing this fight a number of times before you got the timing right. Yes, it is, again, because you don't really do an awful lot of hand-to-hand combat in this game. Not if you don't want to, anyway. You can do a lot. But you don't have to. So the fact that this fight is entirely hand-to-hand combat is a bit strange. So yeah, we have an old fist fight, kind of. That's what fist fights look like, yeah. That's the basic gist of it, I think. You absolutely need to stand in front of each other and don't do a thing. Yes. I mean, do you want me to do the whole Omni Slash sort of thing? The and then we go. Come on, move. Oh, it's the wrong layer. Like that. And then it goes. Boom in the head, and then we fall over and it hurts. And then we get up because we have more health. And then we remember that this is on the edge of a very narrow thing, and we go like that, and he goes ah, and then he falls off and dies, and that's the fight. Hopefully, if not, you have to start again. This is yes. This, I think you'll find, old chap, if you don't mind my interjecting, this is Sparta. Look, it's... I like Foley, but I don't do it with my mouth. Brother! That's what it is. And that was a fall that was big enough even to kill us. Do you hear a splat? I don't think so. I think there's some alarms going off, so it probably covers up the sound. I should point out this is all happening in very dark, moody red lighting. Then how do you know he's dead? Good question. Again, he got blown up in an helicopter and a big old mech. He's had rocket launchers to the face at this point. We aren't in Zanzibar after all, and if we aren't in Zanzibar, nobody dies. That's the rules. So... Well, actually, that's not true, because you can have a heart attack, and you can be eaten alive by ostriches, and bludgeoned to death with a ladle. And that's it. They're the only ways you can die, not in Zanzibar. And we left our sock with the rat, so... Why are we stressing about a nuke yet, then? That is as yet untested. So, you know, even if you don't die... It's going to be very painful. Do you remember that bit in Bloodborne? Where the woman was just mush? I see. Do you? Yeah. So then we go and save Cece. Hang on, let me just... I'm here! No, I'm not. But do you see Cece? Only if you wish her to read the email. Or be included therein. So we then save Cece. For there she is to be saved. There's not really an awful lot to draw. We pick her up and take her away. She regains consciousness, funnily enough, at the time that we decide to pick her up. But we don't pick her up. We sort of raise her up, we have a chat, and then she gets up and walks with us. And we basically say... Hey, how you doing? You're alive! And she says something along the lines of, I am! Thanks for resisting torture, because they were going to kill me if you didn't do that. So, you CC CC so that she can CC the email. She needs to see the CC. She needs to CC the CC. CC needs to CC the CC. You CC? So... St. Francis of... So, yes, and this is where the story converges a little bit based on whether or not we resisted the torture. In this one, she wakes up, and there is a canonical ending too. If you give in to the torture, she's dead here. Lovely! I don't think I've ever done that. What does CC stand for? I think it was just... Was it Cornelia Corn? Okay, that makes sense. I knew it was something to do with corn. I also remember it took me a very long time to get the name Colonel Corn. Because I'm a comedy legend. So, yeah, we pick up Cece, and she says, and she is alive because we resisted torture. Thank you for making that decision. You could have killed her, but you didn't. So, and we say, we need to get out of here. There's a nuke is dropping. And she goes, that's not a good idea. Luckily, even though I was shot in the foot, I'm all right to walk now. I don't know how long it's been since she was shot in the foot. Bit of a continuity error. Understatement of the century. I am understating the dialogue here. But we go, well, we can't go out the normal way because it took us bloody ages to get here. We need to find another way out. Guess who it is? It's our old friend. Nuke is dropping. That's not good. No. In particular, it's dropping here. Oh, that's very not good. Don't you ugh. He's helped us out a lot. Anyway, he says, Noodle, I heard you were, I heard you wanted to get out of here. That's probably a good idea. And yeah, you're alive. You blew up the thing. It was my life's work, but you blew up the thing. Ooh. It's when you're exasperated, but still cute. So he says, I heard about the thing. I heard about you wanting to get out. There is an exit. If you go, I don't know, wherever it is. If you go to the west wing of the bit of this room you're in, the hangar you're in, there is a road out to the back entrance. It's on lockdown at the moment, but from here I can open up all the doors for you, and you'll be great and grand. Get out and live your life and all that sort of stuff. And we go, wait, you need to do that from here. Did you hear about the nuke thing? That's going to be a bit of an issue. And he says, don't worry about that. Don't worry. I'm through being all melancholy and asking about love and battlefields and stuff and pissing my trousers. This is a good enough reason to do things. And I reckon I can probably find out. I'm not going to just lay down and die. Don't worry about that. Yeah, so depending on whether or not you gave in to torture or didn't, it's either Cece who's with you now or it's Uwu. So I suppose a good job for making the decision to not have Uwu with you. Anyway. Yeah, he says, don't worry about that. I'll work out something. Just you worry about saving yourselves. I have no intentions of dying here, even though a nuke is going to land on my head. This is an underground, proper, solid bunker. I know they're probably going to use, like, ground-piercing missiles or something, but I'll work something out. And we say, thanks. And then we hang up. That's basically it. He's going to open the doors for us. Yay. So we run to the, whatever I said, the West Wing, which is a TV show, isn't it? And we run to the West Wing. And we find out that in the West Wing is a parking garage. Or dramatic speech and Noodles just thanks. I seem to remember it is actually, he does just say thanks. But, like, that's made a thing of. I can't remember why. Like, I don't know, have we never said thanks to him before and he's happy about that? I can't remember. Something like that. For someone who very recently watched these cutscenes, I remember very little about them. There's a bit of some funny dialogue in the ending with Weeb. They make a reference to an old sci-fi film. Yeah, okay, thanks, bye. CUL8R. Senpai noticed. Of course. Why am I drawing that? Yeah, so there's a sort of garage door sort of thing here. There's like a panel box or whatever. And there's a bunch of vehicles, which I just realised I have to draw vehicles. Okay. That very slow realisation. what's happening. Draw one vehicle and then copy paste. I mean, I'm probably gonna have to draw a few more. It's a crazy vehicle hiding on. All the vehicles are hiding under boxes. Some of them might be hiding under cloths. It's fine. So we can. No, we have to see the whole thing. Sorry. Just gonna draw the front, but I can't do that. Draw the back. It's rather important. So yeah, it's like a kind of open top sort of military vehicle. Military sort of 4x4 sort of thing. GP what's it? And I don't know how to draw them. Look at this dune buggy. Windscreen wipers. Essential. You need to dislike something, so he shows him. I mean, not... I mean, the car is relatively in perspective. I don't know what happened to the wheels, which was the thing I drew first. That's better. The front of the wheel became the back. It's fine, don't worry about it. I don't know what this is, but it's what they've got to drive in, so haha, joke's on them. I do not draw vehicles. As those of you who aren't following me or who aren't supporting me on Patreon will find out on Thursday. Yes, so, on the back of this, conveniently, it's a little out of the bay, don't worry about it. Have a back windshield, why not? It probably sticks up a bit further than the windshield, that would make sense. Yes, on the back of this is a mounted machine gun. You could have a mounted machine gun or a three-seater sort of thing, but they went with the mounted machine gun. It's an October car. An elder millennial. That sounds very fantasy, doesn't it? I am the elder millennial. I love watching people I don't know join, because my bot tells me whether or not people join or leave the chat. I love watching people I've never seen before join, watch for 10 seconds and then leave. It's just really funny. Because it's like, how do you explain what I'm doing? I certainly don't. Does it look like the turrets in Portal? No, it looks like a machine gun. So it's probably like Trail. Again, I need to watch like war films or something just so I know what these things bloody look like. Yeah, right, that's Portugal for some reason. Ah yes, the famous Portugal turrets. So, we start running around here, looking at vehicles. I believe we look at several until we find out that the keys are in this one. Thank you, Genome Soldiers, for being forgetful, negligent. Oh, sorry, you gotta have the indicators as well. Drawing excellent. It's. So we do that. You saw Elder Millennium from the comic Eliza Schlesinger. My apologies, Eliza Schlesinger, for not pronouncing your name correctly. I would do better, but I have already got names like Kink Vader in my head, and you're getting off lightly. So yeah, there's a bunch more of these. Parked up. In an approximate perspective. Etc, etc. King Vader's one of the best names you've ever thought of, to be fair. I mean, yeah. It was so good, it could have been two people. So yes, we run around. I better draw people running around. How do people run? It's probably the other legs, isn't it? I don't think we're topless at this point, but why not? It makes the ending funnier. Probably stashed our stuff in a very handy to find box like last time. Draw multiple vehicles. Now draw multiple people in action poses. Okay, there's not a huge amount left to draw, so it might as well be difficult. Yes, so we run in here and go, we need to find a way out of here. And we inspect some of the vehicles, and we discover that one of the vehicles still has the keys in it. Thank you very much. Oh, the music changed. That must mean we're about halfway through. Thank you, 1 hour compilations of the music from Metal Gear. Oh, this is the one with the terrible loop, isn't it? Or not terrible, but there's a noticeable loop. Probably just me. Wait, that really looks like flowing noodles. I think that's the motif. That's how they got the name, you know. Wet Noodles got their name because of their hair. Why am I drawing the sole of the shoes? Just get on with it. Yeah, that looks terrible. Why do I have Skibbity in my head? Why am I thinking of Skibbity? I can't even remember who it was by. Really weird sort of dance song thing. Oh, I know why. It's a boring story. Don't worry. Skibbity. It's one of those songs that's like, you listen to it and you're like, I have no idea why I would ever listen to this again. And then you listen to it again 20 times in a row and you go insane. Zibbity? No. I tried to find don't worry about that. That's not interesting either. I'm a bag of uninteresting thoughts today. Right, so that's that, and then Cece. Cece's looking out for any soldiers that might have followed them or anything like that. Yeah, so there's not really much to this scene. I don't know why I'm drawing it in quite such detail, but here I am. So she's up and about and running, even though she got shot in the foot. She's a strong old thing, Cece. Spaghetti meat sauce on pizza. The sauce, maybe. That might be quite nice. Pizza bolognese, why not? I can't remember what those look like. Let's have it the other way around. She wears like a kind of tank top thing. That actually fits for once. There's the loop. Right. You've used spaghetti meat sauce and English muffins to make mini pizzas. Ah, that sounds cool. I like all these little things that are sort of like, they don't follow the normal, like, pattern of things, but when you actually think about them in the abstract, you're like, yeah, that works. Change it a bit, it looks like she's holding books running out of the library. She could hold them. She might have taken the bomb with her. Maybe, yeah, why not? So they disarmed the bomb and brought it with them. You never know, you might need a bomb. When you get out of here, you're going to have to confront the Secretary of Defense somehow. So yeah, you check the jeeps and such, and you find one that has the keys in, and is also conveniently stocked with infinite ammunition for the relatable. I might need this later. You never know. How many times have you walked out of a place where there was a bomb and you thought, oh, I need a bomb now? Oh, terrible. Just thinking ahead. It's fine. There's a joke here about her having her head in the clouds or something. So yeah, you get in the Jeep, it's got the keys in, you drive away. And so begins the end sequence. Spoilers, I guess. So here is an vehicle. I do not know how to draw an vehicle. It's fine, don't worry about it. So we get on the back on the gun, and CC drives, which I suppose. Hang on, this is in America, so they drive. The driver's seat is on the left, so it could be here. Obviously, she's a bit big to be in a normal position. It's very windy. When you've defined a character by the shape of their hair, it's very difficult to do anything other with their hair. Don't remember which side of your Autocon usually drive on, sure it's left, sounds good. I mean, it makes sense, doesn't it? It's an American car. She's in a little toy car. Throw her knee in there. I mean, her legs are quite long, so it's probably sort of sticking out a bit. Oh dear. While this is happening, we're on the back firing guns. What do we find guns at? We're not alone here. Naturally. There are a lot of people lining our escape route. We must get out of the way of our escape route. Sometimes they are blockading the way out. This is kind of like an underpass sort of subway sort of system thing, very sort of enclosed 2-lane sort of thing. And there are like toll booth things along the way that we've got to blow up with barrels, and there are soldiers and there are some people in other vehicles. And I cannot do this justice. I will not attempt to do this justice. How many times have I drawn that mouth shape for this draw through? Very much flapping that way because we're driving forward. Well, Just give up already, your boss is dead. I mean, we did have that whole thing about the fact that these guys have been brainwashed slightly by old James Bondage. It wasn't meant to look like she's smiling. It was meant to look like she's grimacing with air blowing in her face, but she just ended up looking like she was smiling. She turned into M for this last little bit. So yeah, we're up there doing our thing, shooting at things, going through this sort of very sort of narrow tunnel system. Let me do the wheels slightly better. It's the only real thing that's given us any perspective in this whole thing. What is this vehicle? I don't know. There's like a sort of tunnel system that looks a lot better than this. What is this perspective? What is going on here? It's a non-plastic car. That's alright, it's doing alright. And then suddenly... Clones! No. That would have been a plot twist. That would have been quite a significant plot twist. He appears to have a different side car, which is very handy. Oh, I see. Oh, right. I see how. So you're thinking like this is a nose, and then that's the mouth. No, I was thinking of it as that's nothing, and then there's a little smile. That's fair. There you go. It's a VW. It's our brother again, only this time he is armed with a non-specific gun because he's pointing it forwards in perspective. It's a machine gun of some description, but unfortunately this is not a good angle for me to draw the fine details that I really want to draw. He's still there, he's still going. He don't give up. He's not going to die all the time we're still alive. Do you remember him saying that? He said that. And he goes, brother, I'm going to kill you or whatever. I'm not finished yet. That fall may have killed you, but it didn't kill me. Or might have killed you. It was enough to kill you, but not me. Even though I have the recessive genes. How does he move? Probably with difficulty. That's why he's in a car. That said, our friend has been shot in the foot, and she is using the accelerators and brakes quite expertly at this point. Keep trying to blow him up, and we've seen that doesn't work. True. Maybe we need something a bit more direct. So now we have bullets. So yeah, now we're attempting to shoot at our brother. And he does a lot of dodging out of the way. This sequence takes longer than you'd expect because he keeps dodging out of the way of stuff by driving and hiding underneath the windshield and... Hey brother, kindly piss off. Nah, brotherly love. He's wearing his thing. Yeah, and he's pew-pewing at us, so on and so forth, and there's a lot of driving fast and forwards and backwards and so on and so forth. Shoot the wheels. I don't think that does anything. Given that they're military vehicles, they might have plating on the outside. I don't know. Yes. You thought our third fight was going to be our last one. But no, we're now on number 4. So yeah, we have this, and there's lots of driving forwards and backwards and all this sort of stuff. Luckily, Cece's in charge of the car. We don't have to worry about that. Shooting love pellets. That's an unfortunate sentence. So yeah, lots of shooting and so on and so forth. Until we arrive at the bright light at the end of the tunnel. And I can't. My animation skills obviously have been expert in this stream, so I'm going to attempt to do that again until we get to the end and lots of shooting happens and presumably tires are eventually hit, and then we just go and then we all spin around and everything crashes. Nothing can top Omnistash, that's fair. But we made it outside. Pew pew. Here's the exit. Here's the building. We made it outside. Here is a crashed car on its side. Here is a crashed car, roughly speaking, upside down. You can tell it's upside down because this is where the wheels are. So if you want a tip as to how to ensure that the viewer of your visual piece understands the orientation of the vehicle that you have drawn, the wheels are a good signal. Everything else is superfluous. You don't have to draw anything else. Just the wheels. Pro tip. There's like an axle or something probably. I don't know how cars work. Getting pretty cinematic, the camera and such. I've just remembered something. This is not important at all, but it's something I really wanted. I remember thinking, oh, I've got to mention that. This was something Dark said. Ice Alaskan Day. So, Funbird. Do you remember Funbird? And he was talking about. This was when he was in the fridge and he had all his ostriches around him. For some reason, I don't know why, he brings up and I believe, is it an Inuit or an Eskimo game? I can't remember which one it is, because the Eskimos are they are an Inuit people, I think, but obviously Inuits, they're a broader range of people. He brings up a game that they have in their sort of Olympics, as it were, in which people put a bit of string, they loop together a piece of string, and 2 participants put that bit of string behind their ears. I've seen this done on QI, and they just pull really hard until it either slips out from behind one person's ear or someone gives up because it hurts so much, and the person who doesn't give up wins. And he talks about that as being like a pain threshold thing or whatever. And it's just so weird that he just brings this up for some reason. I can't remember what the point of it is. I just wanted to talk to you about it. It's really weird. I'll find the clip from QI and show it to you because it does look unpleasant. But yeah, somebody talked about Alaskan fighting or whatever it was, and it just reminded me of it. Did he know about pain? Maybe. I mean, he got eaten alive by ostriches. I would have thought that would have been a better demonstration. I have honestly no idea what you just described to you. I'll find a video, don't worry. So, anyway, there's a crash. 2 crashes. Or 1 crash involving 2 vehicles. And many guns. Kojima kept throwing in random bits of info. It happens all the time. I have not done justice to just how many times a character breaks out of their dialogue to mention something obscure and then goes back into it. Have you ever heard of this? Explanation. Anyway, back on with the story. It happens like 20 times. It's nuts. I think Wet Noodle did it in like the last cutscene or something. I can't remember what it was. What was it? Pull my ears because it relieves your headaches. Cool. So anyway, the car's crashed and they're sad. Like smoke or something. And they all die at the end. It happens in Codec Calls 2, mailing with a paramedic with her movie trivia. Yeah, a lot of the there's a lot of optional dialogue. If you just randomly ring people up in the middle of the mission, there's a lot of dialogue, and that only gets more and more expansive as the games go on. I remember I found a video on YouTube of every Codec Call in Metal Gear Solid 3, and it's like I can't remember how long it was, but so much stuff. There is I don't know how long the script was for that. Someone had to write all of this. Anyway, we're under here. So we're sort of peeking out. We're under there. We can move freely. I think CC has their legs stuck or something. They're in some sort of predicament. It'll be on the outside, so that would be the thumb. Thumb would be there. It was upside down, so your thumb would be pointing out. Yeah, that makes sense. Sometimes there's lore too. It's just random bits of trivia. Yeah, there's still under the car. And we look at the other car and go, well, no one could have survived that crash. Look, it's smoking and everything. So we're probably fine, aren't we? Behind which we hear a protestation that possibly that is not the case. And around the corner of which we Wet Noodle, in all of their bruised and battered and probably broken boned glory, arrives. Probably with a gun. I imagine with a gun. Why not? He had a gun through this entire thing. Is not happy. He's les adultes terribles. You need Wet Noodle's hair secrets. It's mostly genetics. It's a recessive gene thing. You hate when it's genetics. Or it's nanomachines, one or the other. So I suppose I've got to actually draw a gun now. That's a gun, right? That's what a gun looks like, sort of. I don't know why you're pointing it at the vehicle. You're probably going to point it at the person you're trying to kill. He uses Superior Genes pattern shampoo. The best a genome soldier can get. Would he not wield the other sock? I've already drawn the gun. I'm not getting rid of the gun. It's got a sock attachment. Yes, it's a silencer. A smellencer? No. Clenched fist, probably. And he goes, I'm going to finally kill you. Now you're trapped under a car and I have a gun to your head. Brother! Now, those of you who do not know this game, would you like to hazard a guess as to what happens next? Mostly because I think Chibi will probably do another good job, a better job than the game does. I'll give you one clue. The gameplay is now over. We are now in cutscene territory. So you hold a gun, right? Wolves? Oh no, the wolves are going to die because of the bomb. Didn't think of that. That's the real tragedy here. Does King Vader come back? That's a very personal question. Or the car explodes just in time so we have some more time to get out from underneath the car. The other one, what, James Bondage? No, I think they're all dead. Did you hear a splat? What? Oh, I see. No. But we did see them die in front of our eyes. And the only time that's been not true was when they died a week beforehand. Yeah, we've got a couple of games before ghosts get involved. We saw this limp noodle die before our eyes, did we? No, we saw them crash in a helicopter, we saw them get blown up in a thing, we saw them fall off a thing. We didn't see them die. We saw them get hurt very badly. Anyway, does a helicopter crash on him? Yes, it's thematically appropriate. No, it is thematically appropriate, but underwhelming. Skips cutscene.
Skips cutscene.
And then it's the credits, so... I don't know who the lead programmer is.
Skips credits.
Skips credits. We won't do that because that's a spoiler. So. Right. So, do you know what happens? By the way, we're on layer 69. King Vader will be proud. Yep, Fox Die finally caught up with him. To be fair, we said it would. Yeah, and then he falls to the floor going, "Fox Die, brother!" And then he dies. For them. I said. For them. Well, apparently you've killed him 4 times. How's that underwhelming? Is that legs working? They do when you're dead. The hair is still blowing in the breeze. It too will find a new home. One cannot fight time or gene viruses. It was the nanomachines. So this is why, a while ago, when Dark first made the joke about the nanomachines, I went, shh. So yeah, I imagine it was like, probably the exhaustion from having been almost killed 3 times, probably weakened his immune system or something along those lines. Looks like the car is shouting brother. It is, there's the brothers here. It's a tale of 4 brothers. Can you rewrite the game? I'm not going to stop you. It's the main plot point in so many of these games, absolutely. So, this all having happened, we clamber out from underneath the car, and as is appropriate, I feel, we get a phone call. Not from Uwu, but from... Nope, not you. You're next to us. You, Colonel Corn. It's gone! And he goes, "Good news, Noodle. The Secretary of Defense has been arrested. It turns out he has been... He's been essentially hiding all of this from everybody. He's been assuming total control and telling nobody. So we just basically got in contact with the president and said, 'Did you know he was doing this?' And the president went, 'No, stop him.' So, yeah. We have an epic fist fight like in Metal Gear Solid 4 with the health bar names keep changing to all the rival characters throughout the series. Oh, I don't know what that is. So, yeah. So the secretary, do you remember that guy? That guy? Gordon Freeman has been arrested. This whole thing was essentially a kind of... I don't know, just going way out of line. They put you back in charge because he was the person who was in charge before, who wasn't actually doing the bad thing. He was being told to do the bad thing, so it's fine. Well, he might not be in charge. In fact, I think in this cutscene he says that he's not a colonel. I don't really know what that means. Probably turns out that he wasn't actually. He's been like dishonorably discharged or something. I don't know. He was kind of doing the bad thing. It's basically the guy who staged the coup of our thing has been deposed and there's not really anything else going on anymore, so Colonel Korn picked the phone back up. I don't really think he's in charge. He's just not been arrested, because the person who arrested him has now been arrested. Such a cool bit, you're fighting the names has changed to Solid and Liquid and Big Boss and Ocelot, so on, and also the credits for it. Yeah. So yes, he says good. The planes have now been sent back, obviously, because they were sent under orders of somebody who was doing things very bad. The president has now said, stop all of this. So he's probably going to find out about the whole Metal Gear Rex thing, which is probably not a great plan, what with all the nuclear treaties and such. But now he's going to have to know. But we can swing a few things, because this whole thing blew up and everybody here died. As far as they're concerned, you could just be dead now. And so you can go off and do what you want. No one's going to hold you to account. So feel free to get some chocolates. There is a helicopter waiting for you if you need it, that's there to pick up Cece. But after that, you can do what you want. So there's a helicopter out on the ice, out on an island somewhere. I think it's called Fox Island. Don't know why. There's a helicopter out on Fox Island. Good news. Oh, hang on. Somebody has good news for you. Yes, it's Dr. Baby. She doesn't actually appear in this cutscene, but this news does come from her, but via Korn. I thought I'd introduce her again. Why not? And she says, good news! I've been doing some radar checks on this area because I had nothing else to do when the bombs were going to drop. Presumably Uwu lives as well. Hopefully they didn't hide in a nuclear bunker and wait until the all clear was given, because they might be there a while. So yeah, Dr. Baby says, good news, I've been looking on the radar, and the waters between you and Fox Island are completely frozen over, so feel free to travel straight there. You don't need to wait for a boat or anything like that. Yeah. So there, and we go back. That's the end of Baby. So yeah, and he says, yeah, basically, hey, good job, sorry about all the lies and stuff. Again, I was trying to do this to save Cece. And we go, oh yeah, by the way, Cece's here, she's alive. And we say, and he goes, fantastic, she's alive. Thank you very much, that's very kind of you. We're like, that's all right, we fell in love, it's a love story, apparently. So, yeah. And we basically say, hey, I'll meet you at some point in an informal thing. No, they didn't fall in love. Fair enough. She could do better. You can certainly do taller. So, yeah, and they say, hey, Chummy, you're a good guy after all. Kind of, not really. I don't really trust you, but you're not as bad as I thought. Noodle is mourning his cyborg boyfriend is not ready yet. Yeah, true. Speaking of which, they say, oh, by the way, we've taken someone else out of prison. Yes, it's Varlin. Varlin goes, yeah, sorry about that whole injecting you with a virus thing. It was kind of... That order was partially given by the Pentagon under the instruction of the Secretary of Defense. I wasn't working with the terrorists, obviously, because I killed a lot of the terrorists by doing that. I was working with the Secretary of Defense. So she wasn't a spy after all. She was working with the person who did just get arrested for trying to launch a nuclear bomb. But she still did a bad thing. Yes, I don't really know what her position is at this point. She's probably still going to be reprimanded in some way, but I don't know. So her revenge. Good point. We say, look, Foxdie killed Wet Noodle. We have the same genetic information, what with the fact that we're clones and stuff. Does that mean... And she goes, this is the bit that's very odd. She says... That doesn't matter. What matters is that you live the rest of your life to your fullest. And we keep kind of pressing her and saying, yeah, but are we gonna die? And she goes, doesn't matter. Live life. You need to go out there and live your life. You live to the present. I spent so long focusing on my past. I didn't think about the present. Go live the present of life, and it's very important. And she never says whether or not we're gonna die. It's very weird. The rest of our life is 2 seconds. I know. It's just such a odd it's such an odd kind of scripty sort of thing. Like, the rest of this dialogue has been, you know, the plot's been insane, but the dialogue's been pretty good. At this point, it's just really sort of schmaltzy and strange. I think the idea is to leave an ambiguous sort of ending. Is, are we going to die, are we not? We don't know. Not sure if she knew if he'd die or when. I mean, presumably, she programmed the genetic structure into the nanomachines, which is how the virus, well, not into the nanomachines, but into the virus to make sure that it responds to the particular strands of DNA. And if Liquid and us have the same strands of DNA, theoretically, we would have died. But then again, we don't have exactly the same DNA, because we have the dominant genes and he has the recessive genes. So, maybe not. So, yeah. Anyway, she does all that, and then we end the phone call. And she continues talking while we end the phone call. So I think she starts talking. Yeah, she starts saying things like, "Oh, live life to the fullest" and all that sort of crap. So we start walking down the edge of this cliff here, like some sort of snowy. The building there. There's the smoke from the cars. Just to give you a sense of perspective. Start walking down this cliffside. To discover, what do you think we discover? Here, the last question, what do you think we discover? Actually, not the last question, there's probably going to be another one. Yeah, it's cinematic. Cinematic. 30 frames per second, it's cinematic. And this is like the sheet of ice. We're by the ocean at this point, so this is all sort of cracking ice and stuff. Cracking ice, Gromit. That sort of stuff. What if our torpedo? I forgot about the torpedo. That's on the other side of the base. Where Noodle didn't die again? At the moment, I can say they no longer appear in this story. Is where Noodle and Noodle will get on a first name basis with each other in the other ending. Oh. This is also where CC and Noodle get on first name terms with each other. So you better get ready to come up with Noodle LeBox's actual name. No, we find a little cave. And what's in that cave? Good question. His actual name is Noddle. We find a little snowmobile. How do you draw a snowmobile? I don't know. It's also happy. You got the happy ending, yay. It's either a snowmobile or a very happy Goomba. One or the other. Oh, it is a, yeah, Goomba. Yeah, Miss got there first. Anyway, so we find a happy Goomba. And they're sort of walking down here, talking about stuff. Or while Varlan's talking about stuff. They don't really say anything to each other at the moment. Not sure if you made that CC tall enough. Yeah, it's not. It's very easy. It's very difficult to draw at this fidelity, but the idea being the tassels are getting in her face, which is going to be a recurring problem actually, because they find the happy Goomba, and they get on it, and they get ready to drive away, into the. I don't know how to draw a snowmobile. Drift off to sleep. Absolutely. So it's got to be like a kind of something like that, I guess. Snowmobiles have steering wheels, I guess. I guess they'd have to be higher than that, wouldn't they? I would just like to point out that we are now in Alaska and we're still just wearing a sports bra, but don't worry about that. Oh, there was a scene when Wet Noodle was talking to us and said something about names, and we say, I have a name, and you're like, you don't have a name, you have no past or future, so on and so forth, we're genetic experiments, angry, angry, angry. So in this cutscene we do find out our name, which is Noddle, apparently. It's a slipper on a treadmill, which is a very dangerous thing. So yeah, a couple of things happen here, mostly sort of sentimental stuff which we're not going to consider canonical. In the other ending they joke that maybe they should go visit Mars or something because Uwu Weeb is really named Hal and Snake Noodle is actually named Dave, so they reference, oh okay, 2001 Space Odyssey. Yeah. His name's David, I think, yeah. I don't know whether that's a reference to the voice actor, David Hayter, or... Yeah, in this it's called Noddle, it's fine. Oh, sorry, no, hang on. A couple of things happen. She's getting bigger. She grows with every plot hole. So she finds in the back of this thing. She finds. What do you think she finds? Yet another quiz. I like these quizzes. They elongate the drawing time. A danger noodle? Oh, close. This is completely irrelevant to our draw-through, by the way, but it's something to point out, because it is important for the game, I guess. Sexy pin-up of Noodle? I mean, I don't know what's on it, but no, she finds and bandana. Oh yes. Who knows what these people were getting up to in this cave? Is this where King Vader was hiding out before they joined in? Very long bandana. It's not as long as that one. That one's got to go around the head and then this length twice. So yeah, you find a bandana. This, I believe, gives you infinite ammo or something in the next playthrough. It's got like a New Game Plus sort of thing. Not relevant for us. If you instead save Uwu, he, I think, gives you his stealth gear, so that you can play through the next playthrough with stealth gear on. Definitely belong to King Vader. Nope, not going to go there. Right, so, yep, we find that, and then we talk about names, and he says, oh, my name's Noodle. And she goes, that's not a real name, is it? He goes, yeah, it's a coincidence. They didn't know that when they called me Noodle. In bonus playthroughs, it gives you infinite ammo, and Yasuo gives you stealth camo in the other ending. Yeah, it's Noodle. Name's Noodle. Dave Noodle. Personally, you found stealth camo more helpful in New Game Plus. I mean, yeah, if you don't get seen by people, you don't have to shoot them. I don't think someone named Cornelia Korn can judge anyone. Cornelia is a perfectly viable name, and you cannot choose your surname. So yeah, they have this little moment on the back of the Goomba. This is the Go OMB4. Yeah, and then they drive off over the horizon, which is very flat because they're just sort of on ice, really. Not ice. Looking up. Probably some peaks or something in there. Polar bear. I drew a polar bear. And the A Molebus. Actually, no, the Molebus is important. So the Noddle remarks regarding the they point out the Molebus, and says, that's the Molebus. They are known to the so and so people as being representative of peace or something. It's just a reference to a sticker I did once. But yeah, I think it's caribou in the actual game. I can't remember what it is that they point out. So yeah, he just points out, it's caribou. They're a symbol of good fortune or something along those lines. And then they drive off. I can't remember what the point of that is, but there is a point. And then they drive off into the sunset. Symmetrically, thank you. And then credits roll. That might quite possibly be the dumbest joke I've ever made. Oh dear. So that's it. Oh wait, no it's not. I don't know why I did that sound, but you get the idea. You didn't think there'd be a post-credits stinger, would you? Did you? Strictly speaking, this just happens in black. There's subtitles here. We are privy to a phone call. The voice on the other end is very similar to Bullet Ants. I won't do the voice because if the entire exposition of the last cutscene is, you might not necessarily get the gist of it. But basically, what he says is, there's various things he says at this point. Because obviously we didn't kill him. He says, no, everything, we got out of there, everything sort of cleaned up. No, he died, unfortunately. So did Jeff Headstrong, which is a shame. No, we can clear up the loose ends, that's fine. We're only hearing one side of this conversation. No, he died before he found out. He died thinking he had the recessive genes. He didn't know. No, yep, no, he's definitely dead, definitely taken care of now. The girl, we can keep her under surveillance, that's fine. We don't have to take care of her or anything like that. No, neither of them know that there was a third one, Solidus. They both think they're the only ones. Well, the one that's alive anyway. Okay. Yep, I can take care of that. Cool. Okay, thank you, and goodbye, Mr. President. End music. Twist. So, yes, third brother, Lasagna. We're gonna have to do the next game with Lasagna. So yeah, oh, it's rice noodle, whatever. So many possible combinations. Yeah, and then end credit music, which I won't play because it gets copyright stricken. Metal Gear. Thank you for the GIF. Yeah, and that's it. That is the game. It's a very nice song. Everyone look it up, except me. Yeah, I'm glad people liked it. It's a bit more odd than the other ones we've done. I tried to make it more fun. I tried to embrace more the the weird suggestions you guys make, which is why we ended up with a ladle and all that sort of stuff. But I'm glad you enjoyed it. I'm glad you had fun. Sock rant, of course. 60 pin-up calendar, sure, why not? You've already made a fantastic start. Yeah. So that was that. That was Noodle Gear Solid in only 10 streams. That's definitely the shortest one we've done. There it is. Tactical Jespionage action. I forgot about that. Chief? Ooh. Is that, if Oobs were here, they would probably make a Star Wars reference. So yeah. Thank you for coming along. I don't know what we're gonna do moving forwards. We can either, I said last time, I think, that we can either do a Final Fantasy game, Final Fantasy 8 or 10, or we can do another interactive one like the Forest of Doom. I don't know which one you want to do. If we're going to do an interactive one, I have to prepare for that, so we're probably going to have a couple of weeks of other stuff. But other than that, little Mad Noodle, yeah, back in the day, back before they went through all of this. You stand by the King Vader being perfection in drawn form. It's, yeah, well, as we ascertained in this playthrough, perfection is abhorred by nature, and it may not necessarily survive to scrutiny. So yeah, I don't know what we want to do next week. It's up to you guys. It's fine. We won't do Metal Gear Solid 2 because I don't know that very well. We may do it at some point, but not at the moment. I remember Fat Man and Vamp, and that's about it really. We managed to avoid drowning. This is my favourite line. So, anywho, thank you for the mess that was this game. Well, thank you for joining for the mess that was this game. Yeah, let's end. No more twists. That's it now. We got the post-credit sting of the president being in on this apparently. The brighter flames get crushed twice as fast. Oh, bugger! I forgot one thing. Which is important. Which was when we were talking with Varlan at the end. Noodle says, "Oh, by the way, we met your brother, and he got crushed under the foot of a giant robot." And she goes, "Oh well, maybe he's found the rest that he was looking for. Did he say anything?" And we say, "Yes." He said, "Go and live your life properly. Stop living in the past and start thinking forwards about life and such." Basically, we don't tell her that he killed her parents. We keep that to ourselves. Apart from that was one of the few things I forgot. One of the many things I forgot. Yeah, he tries to, she doesn't need to know that. You're very welcome, Chris. Thank you, Christy. Thank you for coming here and making this more fun. It's the same thing she said. Yes, yeah. She was just stealing his advice, or whoever came first. I don't know. That might have been what prompted her to say, "Yes, you should live your life." Yeah, that probably. Yeah, she stole that idea. The one good thing she did. That said, she did kill a lot of people who were terrorists. So, maybe that's not. Maybe she didn't always do bad things. Yeah, thank you. Again, I'm not sure what we want to do next. If we do a Final Fantasy game, it'll take bloody ages. So maybe we should do an interactive one first, so that at least we get a bit of variety. That will also take ages, probably. But maybe we should do the like an interactive one. Flip a coin. Roll 1d6. Fine with either option. I mean, it's we'll work something out. I don't know. For now, though, I have to look up that clip on QI of people doing the ear pull. You like the interactive ones? I don't know if we want to do a different character. I don't know what the setting would be. We'd have to decide which one it would be. That's one thing. Because last time I gave you the option of, what was it, forest, city, or castle. So we still have Clutches Pal to your chest. I mean, do we want Pal to... Because a lot of people think that the Forest of Doom is the easiest one. So we might have got lucky, but we also have the possibility of, you know, the ability to walk backwards and improvise out of situations also gives us a nice help. So what do I have? Do you want to do... Speaking of a long one, do you want to do Sorcery? I have those. Sorcery is a 4-book story. You can also get those as interactive books on Steam if you want to do those. I have part 3 of that. I think I got that in a bundle of part 3. Next protagonist, Parsley. Yeah, I think you would. These books are not kind, and things not being kind to Parsley might not make happy times. Yeah. So hang on, which ones have I got? I've got. We could do the first one. We could do the castle, dungeon. Same dungeon, but at a different time. There's a couple of story-heavy ones. City. Okay, what have we got? We've got... Okay, I'll see what we can do. Protag design city. We'll have to do that at some point. I think we'll design someone new. Because as much as Pal's a good bit of fun, I feel like it's... I don't want to risk them. I like them too much. I don't want them to die. And at the same time, like if I don't want the protagonist to die, I'm gonna. It's, you know, I'm not gonna go with it fairly. You know, I'm gonna fudge things and all that sort of stuff. But for Paul the rogue, it's up to you. Design what we want. So yeah, we have. There are several books that we could do. I have. How many do I have? I have 8. Not including the Forest of Doom, I have 7, and there's Sorcery as well. I think one of those is very character, like you play... One of them I think is designed so that you play someone who's turned into a monster. So you can't really design your own character for that one. Interesting idea for a story though, but we probably won't do that. Our next protagonist will obviously be named Friend, or Buddy. That's nice. We'll see how it goes. Again, if we're going to do that, I'll work out a way that people can vote on which one we do. And then I'll have to go through that book, make sure I can organise it all so we can go backwards. So we'll probably do something else for the next few of these streams. What do you want to do for these? Maybe we can do something else. As the Tuesday slot's sort of now open. Fool's AU? Good do. What of? I'd have to prepare for those as well. It does involve usually drawing a lot of things. Like when people name their kids Guy, their life is cursed from the off. Yeah. People like Fool's AU. I'll think of something. We'll turn it into a kind of creative slot for a bit, and then see what happens. Yeah. Anyway, that's the end of Noodle Gear Solid 1. Whether or not we ever do 2 is left to the ether. Come back in 2022. Yeah. Thank you very much. You made this very, very fun because you suggested all your silly things, which is always good. I kind of have to now. I mean, yeah. Maybe. We'll see. I'll have to learn how to do these slightly quicker. But it would have been much more sensible and, as a consequence, dull, were it not for you guys. So we work together. It's a group thing. It's a group effort. Yeah. So enjoy yourselves. Have a wonderful time. No, you miss. You're all round niceness. Sensible plus Metal Gear, is that a thing? No, not really. Yeah. Have a wonderful time, everyone. Enjoy yourselves. I'll see you tomorrow for some Dark Souls 2. If not, enjoy whatever it is you're going to do. Let me just... There it is. Yeah. Have a wonderful time, everyone. Goodbye.